So like I said, Blue Goblin. That's how I do it. Something with I like to see a team up between or okay, two ways I could do it. One being first one being like a gang war erupting between Black Mask and Kingpin. Another one is like a supervillain team up between Scarecrow and Mysterio, and Batman and Spider-Man team up in either one. But who would write it? I've actually managed to read some of David Hines' work. Not been able to read Spider-Man Noir yet, but you know, he is a great writer, so I'm gonna have to say him or the great Chuck Dixon. I don't know how many people of you are fans of Chuck Dixon, but I am, especially of his crossover work. So I'd give it to him. You know, I loved his the Punisher and Batman crossover he did. I love his G.I. Joe vs. Transformers comic. And yeah, I give it to him. So, moving on to your second question. If Peter Parker is to get back with Mary Jane, do you see it as either helping or hurting the sales of Amazing Spider-Man? Oh, man. I don't know exactly, Goblin. I don't. You see, however, I will take one thing into account. When the Young Avengers, when Patriot was revealed doing drugs, and people got pissed off about that, and understandably, I can see that. I can see why having the only minority take drugs, and I didn't like that. And people wrote in and said, "How could you do this?" They changed it, and then we have this. The fans have been dying to see, and besides, I don't like One More Day. I'll be happy if he gets back with Mary Jane. I'll be happy as a clam. I'm sorry that sounded really lame, but it's the truth. I'll be happy that we can screw One More Day. I can screw over One More Day. Hated that comic. I'd love to see it. I'm one of those people who loved Mary Jane and Peter Parker as a couple, as husband and wife. Reason being, as Stan Lee wrote him, he wrote it to be relatable to Peter Parker, and you know, I've always said, God bless the character of Mary Jane for being with Parker for so long, and being very understanding of him and being Spider-Man. Certainly because Mary Jane, she being the wife of one of the most popular superheroes, that's got to take a toll. That took a toll so much on their marriage, and God bless the character, you know, for being there and not like ending up in a tragic romance like the Wasp and Hank Pym, or ending up like the Vision and Scarlet Witch. You know, it was kind of like I always said about Lois Lane, for putting up with Clark Kent being Superman, because if Peter Parker did not have Mary Jane and didn't end up marrying him, he'd eventually go. I think he'd pretty much go crazy. If he wasn't able to, if she said no, he'd go crazy, because this is good. As we've all seen, being Spider-Man takes a toll on Parker, and it's just. I always thought it was nice for him to. For Peter to just come home, take the mask off, and be home with someone he loves. So yeah, I'm one of those people who thinks, who is going to be happy if Mary Jane gets back with Peter Parker. So thank you for that question, Goblin. And your third question is, what is without a doubt one of the worst comics you've ever read? Well, I just said a couple minutes ago, like I said a couple minutes ago, one more day. But recently, it has to be the list, the Dark Reign, the List, the Punisher, obvious reasons. And when I read that book, I didn't even buy it. I read it in the bookstore where it had a little comic book rack. I threw it half across the room, across the hallway, and I was like, no! I acted like a 10-year-old, like a very pissed off 10-year-old when I read that. That was bullshit. In my opinion, making Punisher a superpowered character. What the hell? And now they're going to keep it up. That's what's really pissing me off now. Well, thank God for Punisher Max. But before I go on, I've already said what I needed to say on that. In the video I did earlier on as my time here on YouTube. So thank you for the questions, Goblin, and let's keep on rolling. My next let's see who else can I do. What's next question? Oh, here we go. Next question comes from Fantasy Fanful. And he asked me, what would happen if Altair, the Sky Mercenary of Assassin's Creed, encountered the Darkness, the Man of Shadows? Darkness would freaking kill him. Man. Not to sound biased, but I'm just looking at how it is. Darkness would just rip him apart. I swear, wow. It wouldn't even be much of a fight. Sorry, Fanful, but I'm just keeping it real here. Your next question is, are you a fan of Ratchet and Clank? And no, never really got into the game, so sorry. I just never found the appeal to Ratchet and Clank. I'm sorry. And he asked, are you a fan of Jak and Daxter? I've only managed to play the first game, and I never really got into it, so no, not a fan of that either. So sorry about that, but thank you for the questions. And finally, we go to Stings. Stings. I'm trying to remember his question because, oh, here it is. Oh my gosh, I've been looking through all my, questions, and, I suddenly realized that Ziploc Bloody had another question for me. So, I'm sorry, Zip. Real sorry about that, man. I did not see. I was looking through all my questions and did not see that. I'm sorry, man. So he asked me, if you were a villain, what villain in Marvel and DC would you be more like? You know, for Marvel, so many, but you know, I would like to be, man, that is a tough question. I don't know, there's just so many, Zip. But, you know what, I'm gonna have to say, Sandman, simply because I can feel relatability with this villain, and the power of having all the control over sand and all that just sounds cool. And for DC, I'm gonna have to say I'd love to see what it's like to be Superboy Prime. I'm currently role playing as the character now, and I'm having so much fun with it. Although it's hard to find a fight when you're like an omnipotent, when you're like a all-powerful being. So maybe I can't. So being Superboy Prime is would be fun. So yeah, thank you for the question, and I'm sorry I did not see that earlier. So thank you again for the question, Zip, and hope to see your Q&A. Okay, now we move on to Stings. I'm sorry, Stings, for keeping you waiting like that. I just did not expect that. But I'll answer your questions in the next Q&A. I'm sorry, but like I said, I'm sorry about that, and I'll see you in this third.